What a blind child taught me about true vision. A blind child taught me what it means to truly see. For 35 years, I thought my eyes gave me vision. I was wrong. The child who couldn't see a single ray of light showed me colors I never knew existed. She revealed a world more vivid than anything my eyes had ever captured. How is this possible? How can someone trapped in eternal darkness become a teacher of sight to someone who spent decades claiming to guide others toward enlightenment? This story will shatter everything you believe about vision, about wisdom, about who can be our greatest teachers. Because sometimes those who live in physical darkness possess the clearest inner light. Sometimes the teachers we need most desperately come in forms we least expect. That child's name was Sarah. She was 7 years old, born completely blind, and in one afternoon she destroyed 35 years of my spiritual arrogance and rebuilt my understanding of what it means to see. Let me take you back to the beginning. I became a monk at 22, convinced I had special sight, not just physical vision, but spiritual insight. I claimed I could read people's energy. I could see their karma, their spiritual progress, their hidden motivations. Other monks sought my guidance. Students traveled hundreds of miles to hear my teachings about developing inner vision. I wrote books about spiritual sight, seeing beyond the veil, the enlightened eye, vision of the awakened mind. Thousands of copies sold worldwide. I was invited to speak at conferences about developing psychic abilities and spiritual perception. People called me the seeing master. But here's what I couldn't see. I was spiritually blind, completely, utterly blind. I was so busy looking for profound mystical experiences that I missed the simple truths right in front of me. I was so focused on seeing people's past lives and future karma that I couldn't see their present pain. I was so obsessed with spiritual visions that I became blind to ordinary compassion. For 15 years, I lived in this illusion of sight. I meditated for hours seeking visions of angels, glimpses of other dimensions, revelations about the nature of reality. Sometimes I'd see flashes of light during meditation and convince myself these were profound spiritual insights. I'd share these visions with students and they'd nod in awe, which fed my ego even more. But gradually, something began to feel wrong. The visions felt empty. The spiritual insights felt manufactured. The more I claimed to see, the more lost I became. It was like being in a hall of mirrors. Everything I thought I saw was just a reflection of my own desires and expectations. 20 years into my monastic career, the doubts began consuming me. Students would ask for guidance, and I'd give them elaborate explanations about their spiritual paths based on my supposed inner sight. But I started noticing that my advice rarely helped. People left my teachings more confused than when they arrived. Marriages I blessed ended in divorce. Students I declared spiritually advanced left Buddhism entirely. By year 25, I was having a crisis of faith. Maybe spiritual sight was just elaborate self-deception. Maybe everything I'd taught was nonsense. Maybe I was just a deluded man playing dress-up in monk's robes. The breaking point came during a meditation retreat. I spent 7 days in intensive practice, desperately seeking some genuine spiritual vision to restore my faith. On the final day, sitting in perfect silence, I had what I thought was the most profound vision of my life. I saw myself surrounded by golden light, elevated above other beings, chosen by the universe for special wisdom. I opened my eyes feeling ecstatic. Finally, proof of my spiritual gifts. I rushed to share this vision with my closest student, but as I described the experience, I saw something in his eyes, not awe, but pity. That's when I realized the horrible truth. My profound spiritual vision was just narcissistic fantasy. That night, I packed my bags and left the monastery. I was 35 years old, and everything I'd built my identity on had crumbled. I wasn't a wise teacher with special sight. I was a self-deluded fraud who had been blind all along. I spent the next 2 years wandering, working odd jobs, trying to figure out who I was without the monk persona. I'd lost my purpose, my community, my sense of self. I felt like a spiritual fake who had wasted half my life chasing illusions. That's when I found myself working as a volunteer at a school for blind children. I thought it would be simple. Help kids who couldn't see navigate their daily activities. I figured my own spiritual confusion wouldn't matter there. I was just trying to be useful while I figured out my life. On my first day, I met Sarah, 7 years old, born with a condition that left her in complete darkness. Never seen a sunset, never seen her mother's face, never seen colors or shapes or any of the visual world I took for granted. My first thought was pity. This poor child, trapped in eternal night while I complained about losing my spiritual visions. But within minutes, Sarah shattered my assumptions about who deserved pity. "You look sad," she said during our first conversation. I was startled. How could she see my emotional state? "Your voice sounds heavy," she explained, "like you're carrying something that hurts." I was amazed. In 35 years of claiming spiritual sight, I'd never perceived someone's emotional state so accurately from just their voice. But this 7-year-old blind girl saw straight into my heart within minutes. Over the following weeks, I watched Sarah navigate the world with a clarity that astounded me. She could identify people by their footsteps, understand their moods from their breathing, sense their intentions from subtle changes in their presence. She moved through her environment with confidence I'd never possessed, despite her complete lack of physical sight. But it was her inner vision that truly amazed me. Sarah saw goodness in everyone. She saw potential where others saw limitations. She saw joy in the smallest moments. She saw love everywhere, even in places where others only saw difficulty. One day, she asked me why I seemed so lost. I found myself telling this 7-year-old child about my spiritual crisis, about losing my faith in inner vision, about feeling like a fraud. She listened with patience beyond her years. When she finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that changed everything. "Maybe you were looking with the wrong eyes." I asked her what she meant. She took my hand and placed it over her heart. "I see with this," she said, "not with these," pointing to her sightless eyes. "My heart shows me everything I need to know. It shows me when people are hurting so I can help them. It shows me when people are happy so I can share their joy. It shows me love everywhere, even in sad places." She paused, then added with the wisdom of an ancient sage, "I think you've been trying to see magic things far away, but you forgot to see the love right here." In that moment, my entire understanding of vision transformed. This blind child possessed the clearest sight I'd ever encountered. She wasn't searching for mystical visions or spiritual phenomena. She was seeing the most important thing of all, love. Love in all its forms, everywhere it existed. Subscribe if this story opened your eyes to a different kind of seeing. And comment "Heart" if you're ready to start looking with love instead of looking for magic. Our community is here to help each other develop the only vision that really matters, the sight that sees sacred humanity everywhere.